so there we go. Okay, so review sheets. First of all, let's start here with, I'll go into Schoology here. Okay, I'm going to go into Schoology. Now, it's not going to be there yet, but it will be there. Okay, it'll be there soon. And you're going to go into courses right here. You're going to go into your math class, which is this one. Now, I've already got a chapter 1 folder. I haven't completely put everything in it yet. You'll see some of the videos for this chapter, but there's going to be more stuff. There's going to be practice worksheets. There's going to be notes. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. Eventually, what you're going to see is you're going to see a folder called Review Sheets. And since I'm creating it right now, you would see it right now. Okay? And what that Review Sheets folder is going to have in it is it is going to have blank, it's going to have printable review sheets, in case you forget it. It's going to have the video from the previous week. So every week when I go over these review sheets, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record it. And then when I record it, I'm going to put it in there so that next week's review sheet, if you get the same type of question, you could go back to last week's video. Does that make sense? Or go back to last week's review sheet. Everybody understand that? So all those things are going to be posted. I might even post the answer keys to previous weeks in there as well, just so that you guys can have those things to be able to go back and look at. Okay? Review sheets. It is up to you to get them checked by me. Advisory is a great time to check. Study hall is a great time to check. At the end of class, right before you go to lunch, all these times are great times for you to check. When I say check, I want to make sure you understand. That means I'm going to be sitting in here. Hey, Mr. Garrison, can you check my review sheet? I'm going to pull it over. I'm going to put little check marks next to the questions that you got correct. I'm going to put an X by the ones that you missed. You have all week to correct those. This should be a what grade every single week? This should be 100% every single week. There's really no excuses. If you wait till Thursday night, you're probably not going to do very well. And probably I'm going to be contacting parents because it's inexcusable. Even your parents are going to be disappointed when I tell them they are getting a grade. And it counts. This grade counts, okay? It's going to be 15 to 20 points every single week that's going to go towards your quarter grade that I'm basically giving you 100%, so to speak. Does that make sense? Hold on one second. Okay? So you need to come get checked before lunch. If you want to come in one day at lunch, I thought about we'll see how this goes, but I thought about making a Wednesday like a luncheon day, like to where you guys can come in, go get your lunch, bring it back. You'd be missing lunch and recess, but you'd have all period to get it checked by me and work on it. So it's kind of worth it to get 100% every week. Trust me. Like I've told you before, I've never had a student that got 100% in all their review sheets ever get anything lower than an A in my class. That's how big of a grade it really is. Questions?
When you put an X by the ones that we get wrong, do we get a whole new paper?
Nope. That's why you got to do it in pencil. Alex, set up, please. Or Connor, I mean. Thank you. That's why that's why I want you to work in pencil, because when I put an X by it, you should just erase it. Now, what some students do, I've had some of the girls I've had in the past, what they would do is they would get Post-it notes and just like they would not tape it, but stick it over the question box. Like you can see how there's like boxes on there, and they would just do their new work on that one, or do their work on the back or whatever. But yeah, you do need to have work. If you don't have work, you're going to find that out here in a minute. If you don't have work, I'm going to be counting stuff wrong. I'm very picky about my work, but I think that's fair based on the fact that I'll check it as many times as possible throughout the week. Right? Yeah.
So, which sheet is due this week?
Number 2. Number 2 is going to be due this week, this Friday. It's not as big as you think. It looks bigger than it is. It is stapled, but if you look at the questions of Review Sheet 2, they take up a lot of space. So there's not like there's like that same, like there's 10 boxes on the front. There's only like 4 or 5 additional questions on Review Sheet 2. Okay, so yeah, it's stapled, but it's not that long. Trust me. It doesn't. With just the fact that we screen captured the actual question from different books and stuff, and just pasted them in there, so they take up more space than what it's. No, Review Sheet 1, we are going to go over in class right now. We're just going to do it together so that you can understand what I expect when it comes to showing work, how to answer your questions, how we're going to grade it, how you can get checked. I want to answer all those things. That's the goal for today. Yes?
So there's no video for that?
There will be a video. That's the other thing that you're going to find in this material section. Obviously, here's the Review Sheets folder right here, guys. It is right there. I have not added anything to it. You're going to find... I started to say this, and then I got sidetracked. You're going to find a blank review sheet for every single week. I'll post it. I always post it on Friday before the weekend. It's due the following Friday. post it in the folder. It's there. If you want to get started on Saturday, like say, and it's due the next Friday, you guys understand what I mean? Okay, you can go on, print it, get it started. Okay, I try to have them copied every Friday for the next week, but sometimes I don't, so I post them here. You will also find the previous week's video, so of me recording and explaining every single question on the review sheet from the previous week, so that you can use it if there's a question that's similar. And what you're going to find is there's a lot of things that are similar from week to week. Okay. The other thing that you're going to find, and it's not going to be early in the year here, it's going to be sometime soon. I do what's called a review sheet quick video. I hope everybody's listening to this. This is very important. I do a review sheet quick video every single week. Okay, they're already made from last year. And what that review sheet quick video will do is I go through every question. Okay, so for instance, let me just give you a little indication of what it would look like. So if I was doing a quick video on this, like I wouldn't do 70 times 800 and tell you what the answer is. What I would do is I would give you a hint. I would say, think about it. Try not to work it out. Think about those zeros. Think about how that works. Maybe I'd even do one similar to it, like 60 times 700, and then do that and then show you how I got it without actually multiplying it out. That's what I would do on the quick video. It wouldn't be very long. Number two, I would look at rounding. I would probably take a minute and I would go through all the place values for you and what the rounding rules are. So that little quick video is just a little help for you. So that when you get stuck and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't rounded since a while. It's been a while. I haven't rounded in a couple years or whatever. Or you just forget, you can go to that quick video. You don't have to watch it. I'm not making it mandatory. But if you come to me and ask me for help, I'm probably going to say, did you check out the quick video? And if you say no, I'm going to say, why don't you start there? Because I'm going to put that out there for everybody. And again, I'm making it even easier to get 100% because I'm giving you that quick video that's going to go through and tell you exactly what you need to do, explain anything that might not be explained. Even though this is called a review sheet, there are times where I will put skills that you have not learned yet, just to see how you guys do with it. Okay? But if you watch the quick video, I'll teach you. I'll give you a little understanding of how to do it. So let's say you're on number 6 on your review sheet right now. Okay, so I'm on number 6. I go down here. This is number 1. This is number 2, number 3, number 4. Whoops. I think this is 6 right here. Okay, let's say that you just have forgotten how to subtract. Okay, if you got number 1 through 5, you forget how to subtract numbers, you can actually fast forward the video to wherever number 6 is and just watch that part as needed. And the video will only be like 10 to 12 minutes long. The longest one was like 15 minutes. Okay, but if you get stuck, your first option is to go to that quick video, so that you don't have to go to your parents and say, hey, can you help me with this? I don't want to burden your parents with that. Okay, go to this video because I guarantee the video will help you. And if it doesn't help you, then you can come to me and I will absolutely help you. Okay, but the real successful people that have had success with the review sheets, they get them done earlier in the week. They get them checked by about Wednesday. Make corrections Thursday, get it checked again, and then by Friday, they usually have 100%. And I actually have blue folders over here that I'll get out eventually, and those you can actually, once you get it perfect, and and I write 100% at the top, you can actually turn it into me. And that guarantees your 100% for the rest of the week. Wouldn't that be nice? So on Wednesday, be able to give it to me check it. Say I get check it Tuesday, check it again Wednesday, and it's 100, and you give it to me. You don't have to worry about it for the rest of the week. Is that a pretty good deal? Okay, I call the review sheets your responsibility grade, not your ability grade. Whether you're the best math student or you struggle in math, does not matter on how you should do on this. Because you can get help, because you can get checked, because there's videos, because of those things, you should get 100% on these review sheets. But it's your responsibility. And if you wait till Thursday, you're probably not going to do as well. Does everybody understand how the review sheets work? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go through here. We're going to do these we're going to do numbers 1 through 10, and then the ones on the back. I need you to be writing down. You're going to keep this as your reference, okay, so that if there's any question about how to show your work or whatever, you can go back to review sheet 1, but I'm going to clearly identify what you need to work on right now, okay, what work you need. There's usually space all around the review sheet, like on the back. If you flip to the back of your review sheet right now, you'll see that there's all kinds of space you could show work on. I mean, there's space up in here, there's space over here. Worst case scenario, get a piece of paper, staple it to it. I'm fine with that. but your work has to be there. If you don't have work, you will miss them. Okay? That's the one thing with me, and that's with pretty much every math teacher, and probably you guys don't like it, and I didn't like it when I was your age, but I make you show your work because that's what it's all about. It's not just about getting an answer. It's about figuring out how you got your answer. If you can explain how you got it, show how you got it, usually you have an even greater understanding of whatever we're talking about. Question?
That was a lot of information. What is for homework this week?
For the week? Well, we will have videos for this week. We'll have videos. Like we'll have a video probably tomorrow night. That in my opinion, you have all week to do that. So I feel like you could be doing it in advisories, study halls. You could get it done. It's not going to take you as long as you think. Okay, just trust me on that. All right. So yeah, that's just got to be worked on throughout the entire week. But if you start getting it on Friday, then you have a full 7 days to get it done, or 6 days technically. Yes.
Let's say we finish it in study hall. Let's say we go in study hall today and we finish it. Can we come in here?
Yes. Yeah. If you need your review sheet checked, you need to sign out of study hall. Just tell your study hall teacher, hey, I need to go get this checked. They'll let you come because I've been doing it for years. Okay. As I've said, I'm in one of a few different places. 7th period, I'm almost always in here. I try to be almost always in here. If I'm not in here, check Mr. Edwards' room right next door. Same goes for 3rd period. 3rd period is my meeting time with the math department. We're right next door here in Mr. Edwards' room. If for some reason I'm not in there, you can look around for me, but that's where I am. But I will check review sheets during the meeting. Just knock on the door. I'll tell you to come here. I'll check it real quick, and then you go back to study hall. You guys will find out that it takes me literally 30 seconds to check a review sheet. It's so quick. Okay? That's why I said if you want to pop in right before lunch, that's a great time to do it as well. I mean, you'll be a couple minutes, maybe you'll be a minute or two late to lunch, but that's okay. I mean, that's not the biggest deal in the world. Yes?
What about advisory?
Advisory is a great time. I'm going to be working with some students starting sometime here next couple weeks to where I'm going to have a small group in here that I'm going to be working with on math. So we'll have to identify what days are the best for advisory. In the past, I've never done the little small group thing, so any day in advisory, I was checking review sheets. This year's maybe a little bit different, but we'll work it out. Okay? All right, let's get started on this. Okay. So, as I said, you should be writing with me. This is not for a grade. This is simply for your reference, and so you can understand what I expect. So, in the boxes, I try to put some room for you to show your work. So, like here, I have. What's up?
How come we can't try it and then you go over it?
Well, that's what review sheet 2 is for. So I'm just wanted to, I thought about giving you this last week, but I didn't want to overwhelm you with another thing. So I figured we'd just do this one together, and then you'd start on review sheet 2. And if I can get through this, then you'll have some time at the end to start. Sound good? So here, 70 times 800. You guys got to understand that we're going to talk about calculators tomorrow. I allow calculators, okay? In 6th grade, I allow calculators. There's only one chapter this year that I don't allow calculators, okay? But let's understand something. Would it be okay on number 1 for you to use a calculator? What do you think? No. Okay, now could you check with it? Sure. But you better either show your work or you better explain the method you used. And using a calculator is not a method, okay? Same goes for that. Remember number 6 down here that we talked about? If you just put an answer here, put your answer there, and you don't have any work, it's going to be wrong. Everybody got that? Okay? So you can check with a calculator all day long. But if you don't show the work, if it says show work, you should know what work I expect. I'm not going to give you a problem where you're just simply going to practice punching numbers in your calculator. Now, I'll go up here. Not there. That isn't a good example. Really, there isn't a lot of calculator work on this one. Later on in the year, there will be ones where you can use a calculator. You'll know which ones you can, which ones you can't. Okay? So this first one, it says you can show your work. So if you wanted to line it up and do 800 times, you should be writing this, right? If you wanted to line it up and do 800 times 70, you could do it that way. Because I said you could show your work or, okay, so if you didn't understand the whole zeros, you should be writing this. If you didn't understand how to do the zeros method, then that, yeah, that's why it says or explain the method. So over here, what I did is I know that if I do just the first number of the whole number, so 7 and 8, and if I do 7 times 8, that's 56, right? And then I know I can just add the 1, 2, 3 zeros. So, would I accept that right there? Did you explain the method you chose? Huh? No, you didn't explain it. You would have to write a little sentence down here explaining. Explaining means in a sentence form. Okay? If you just did it this way and actually just multiplied it out, that's fine. That's why it says or. Okay? So in your explanation, you should explain, and I won't write this out, but you should be saying, well, I just did 7 times 8, and then I added on 3 zeros. That would be the correct answer. Does everybody understand this? Okay. Let's go on to number 2. Number 2, we're rounding to the nearest thousand. Okay, if you don't know your place values, okay, that's something that you could get on and quickly review. But if the decimal's there, we know the tenths is there. Oops. That's a decimal, by the way. Then we have hundredths. That's tenths. I'm writing it too wide of a pen, I think. Hundredths. And then we have the thousands. And then we would go to 10,000s. Okay, and this is all on the video, so you don't have to write this right now, since it's on there. I mean, you can, okay, but it is on the video. Okay, so if you're somebody that just forgets your place values, which usually 6th graders do, then you have this here. It's on review sheet 1. You should always have it. Plus, you just Google place values. On the left side of the decimal, the first place value would be the ones, then the tens, then the hundreds, then the thousands, and then obviously the 10,000s would be after that. Okay? You don't need to show your work for this at all, no. This is one where there's really no work required. So when I say round this number to the nearest thousand, now some teachers teach it a little bit different, but every teacher has the same method, they just maybe do it a little different. The way I was taught, and I always teach it, is I always underline, and a lot of teachers do it this way too, underline wherever you're rounding. So I know that the thousands is the 1, 2, 3, 4th place from the decimal, and I know the decimal's right there, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I always draw an arrow to the number to the right. Our rounding rules say that if the number to the right is 5 or more, then you raise the score, is the saying that a lot of elementary teachers, I think, teach. Okay, so that would go up to 3. Okay, if the number to the right is 4 or less, you're going to let it rest. You're going to leave it alone. So because this 8 is 5 or more, is that 2 going to go up to 3? Okay, what happens to the numbers to the left of where I rounded? Do they change?
0.
No, to the left. No, that's going to remain a 9. What's going to happen to the numbers to the right of where you round? They're going to turn to 0, so we know that that is 93,000. Now, these first couple review sheets are going to seem very basic because we're going to review a lot of elementary skills. There's going to be some elementary things that we're going to be hitting on. Okay, so just do well on it, get a good grade, it's good practice. Next one, we're going to round this number to the nearest 100. Okay, again, I know the decimal's right here. This would be the ones place, the tens place. The hundreds would be right there. I'm going to draw an arrow to the right. Uh-oh, the number to the right is 4 or less, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so what's it going to do? It's going to stay the same. The number to the left of that is going to remain as a 5. Then what happens to everything to the right of the 4? So it's 5,400. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's go on to box number 3. Okay. Less than or greater than. This is a less than sign. Kind of looks like a little squished down L, doesn't it? This would be a greater than sign. You see the greater sign first. Okay, you might want to write these for future reference. Which one's which? What can I add after this 8 right here that wouldn't change the value of that? Yeah. 0, yes. Okay, I can add a 0. Okay. Now ask yourself, if this were money, which one of these is larger? $3.80 or $3.08? Be $3.80, right? So the inequality symbol that you're going to choose, if we're going to think about it as an elementary thing, if I put little teeth on this thing like I did in the video, it's going to want to eat the bigger one or the smaller one? It's always going to want to eat the bigger one. Okay? And then here, how did you decide? Well, this is where you would write a sentence. Whenever you see these lines, you'd have to write a sentence. So I'm just going to write the word sentence. But I'm not going to write it out, but you would have to. Basically, what I'm looking for is, well, I added a 0 after the 8, and I know that in this tenths place right here, I have 8. Here I have 0. Clearly, the 8 tenths is going to be larger than the 0 tenths. Make sense? Okay. Let's go on to number 4. Okay. Here you have Phoebe's math test scores. You're going to see this a lot. Okay. You have to identify what the maximum and the minimum is. Pretty easy. If you know what maximum just means the greatest number. So we know that's going to be 100. The minimum is going to be the smallest number. So what? 93. Okay. Now I'm assuming that a lot of you don't know what range is. Does anybody know what range is? Yes. Yeah, we're getting close. Everybody write this, because this is like kind of a new thing, and you're going to see it on pretty much every review sheet. What the range is it is the maximum minus the minimum. So we call the answer to a subtraction problem a difference. The range is the difference between the minimum and maximum. Sound good? So that's pretty easy. So in order to find the range, I hope we're all writing this, I'm going to do 100 minus 93, and I'm going to get what? 7. That is my range. So you're going to see range on next week's review sheet. Okay, so everybody, if you had review sheet 2 out right now, you would see that there's a question on here asking for you to find the range. Well, I just showed you on review sheet 1, this is how you can reuse review sheet 1. When you get stuck on review sheet 2 finding range, you can go to number 1 and say, oh yeah, Mr. Garrison had me write down what range was, and bang, there it is. It's the subtracting the maximum and the minimum. Biggest minus smallest, yes?
On the side for the answers, if you have 2 answers, do you write both of them?
You don't, okay. This whole thing right here, guys, is really, the only thing my students ever use this for, don't write answers. I know it says answers. We need to change the formatting. Don't even bother with that, okay? What my students always did is they would look at the box. And if they got the box right, they'd put a check mark. If they missed a box, they put an X. They almost use that for grading. So really it should say grading over here. Which actually brings me to a great point. I'm glad you asked that. Okay. I want to make sure everybody understands this too, and I know I'm throwing a ton of stuff at you right now, but you'll pick it up, trust me. Okay? Let's say how I grade these is I grade them by box. So like this box right here, number 2, it's worth 1 point. You either got it right or you got it wrong. So let's say that you had 93,000, but down here you did 5,500. Did you get both answers right?
Oh,
no. No, you missed this one. So what happens to the box? You got it wrong. That's -1. I feel that's fair based on the fact that you can check it all week. Agreed? So even if you miss one part of the box, the whole box is incorrect.
But will you tell us which one?
Yeah, I always say, like I'll go, when I check mark, I'll check mark each individual question. So I'll go check, down here, check, and then I look at your sentence, okay, check, and then I'll look at this and I'll say, okay, your maximum good, your minimum's good, oh, your range is wrong, or something like that. So yeah, that's how I check it, okay? So it's not about the number of questions, it's about the box. Does everybody understand that? Okay, I'm going to go on to number 5. Okay, here we go, more rounding stuff. Round that to the nearest tenth. Okay, you look up at the top where I put on what the place values are. I know that the tenths is where the 7 is. I'm going to draw my arrow. I hope you're all doing this with me. To the number to the right. Since the number to the right is a 6, that is 5 or more, right? So what's that 7 going to do?
Turn to an 8.
It's going to turn up to an 8. Everything to the left of this is going to stay the same. And then what happens to the numbers to the right? You can either just leave them off, or some of your teachers teach you to turn them to zeros. Either one of those would be absolutely correct. Okay? Either one. Okay? Next one, round this to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to underline the 6. I'm going to draw my arrow to the 2. Since the 2 is 4 or less, everything's going to just stay the same, right? 4, 14.760. Either one would be correct. Okay, next one, you're rounding to the nearest whole number. Whenever something asks you to round to the nearest whole number, what place value is that talking about? The ones place value.
Wait,
Yes.
it says, wait,
Which one?
it's because I thought that, would turn 14, the second one into 14.8 because it says in the nearest hundred.
The hundreds is this place right here, though.
Oh, dang it.
Right up here we did the tenths.
Got
Here's the hundreds. So remember, everything to the left of where you're rounding stays the same, and everything to the right of where you're rounding always turns to zeros. That's the rule. Okay? Next one to the nearest whole number, so I'm going to underline where the 4 is. I'm going to draw my arrow to the right. Okay, that 7 would tell that 4 to do what? Bump up 1. So your answer here would be either 15, or you could have 15 point what? 0, 0, 0. Nearest whole number would mean ones place, because the nearest whole number is the one closest to the decimal, so the ones place value. Okay? Over here, I'm not going to do this because I think you all know how to subtract, but just understand, if you just wrote an answer here, there's your answer, it would be incorrect. You didn't show work. So you would actually have to line it up, 941 minus 327. As you can see, there's plenty of room here for you to work it out. If you need to attach an additional piece of paper, that's fine. Okay, let's go on to number 7. Okay, again, same with number 7. That's an add-in question. I'm not going to go over it right now. I think you know what I expect on that one. Can you check with a calculator? Hello? Yeah, but what if your calculator gives you something different than you got? You just write the one your calculator got you? I mean, you can write it, but then you need to redo it and figure out why you missed it. Okay, and those are the things I'm looking for. Okay, identifying, you'll see a lot of these pattern types of questions. You've seen these from elementary. You just have to figure out whatever the rule is. What's the first rule that would come to mind when you think about 3 becoming 9? Yes? Times 3. What's the other real basic rule that you would think of when you were going from 3 to 9? Plus 6. And then what I did is I just went here and said, okay, I'm going to apply the same rule. Is 81 times 3 going to give me 243? Yep. So right there, I know that I've eliminated that rule because 81 plus 6 is certainly not that. So what do I need to do? 9 times 3 is 27. There you go. That's it. Cool? All right. This one here, you're trying to do this mentally. And the little trick here is with these zeros, you can always just take off zeros. So in this case, since I have 1 0 at 90 and 1 0 and 450, I just get rid of them. How many times will 9 go into 45? It would go in 5 times. Perfect. Same down here. I can say how many times will 4 go into 28? Well, that'd be 7 times, right?
Yep.
Are we still writing these? How many 60s cross off the zeros? How many 6s go into 42? 7. So no work required there. No explanation needed. Okay? Kyle, you writing this?
Yep.
All right, next one. You get it? Okay, here we go. Here's your divisibility rules. This is what we went over on Friday, and it's in your note packet. Yes, you need to explain it. I do not really want you to just do 45,678 divided by 2. That's not the point of this. I want you to explain how you know using divisibility rules. That's why it says use the divisibility rules from your class notes. Okay, so is that number divisible by 2, guys? What do you think, Shane?
Yeah.
Yes, that's absolutely true. So we would all write this. Why is it true? Tyler? Do you know? It's okay if you don't. Okay, okay. All right, yes? Because, let's all write this, 45,678 ends in an even number. Easy explanation. Because it ends in an even number. Okay, all numbers that end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 will be divisible by 2. Okay? But I want you to use the divisibility rule. Okay? Okay, on the next one, We need to figure out if 3 will divide perfectly in 318. Or actually, that's worded wrong. 318 divided into 3, or by 3, perfectly. Okay? So how would we know this? Again, I don't want you to do this. I mean, you could check, oh boy. You could check doing the division, but I don't want you to. Who remembers the divisibility rule? Jade? Yeah, I'm going to do 3 plus 1 plus 8. What's that going to give me? 12. So then I know, is 12 divisible by 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe that's the work you show. You would say true, or write true. And then you would say, because I added the digits, and that was divisible by 2.
You mean 3?
Yeah, sorry, big fault, my bad. By 3. Sorry, that's so sloppy. Yes? Good. You're right, absolutely, it works on that one. If I give you a big number, 462,120, then you would have to add the digits, right? So let's just use the rules that I gave you. Now what we'll do when we're grading this on Friday, not this one, but review sheet 2, is we would now be saying how many did you get right out of 10? You all got 10 out of 10, so go ahead and put that at the bottom. Now let's go to the back. Okay, now these, whoops, sorry. Sorry about that. It's just, and you're just explaining the rule that you did. That's all you're doing. You're explaining the rule that you did. Okay? Yes?
So could you do that rules for like any division number?
No, just 3. Only 3 and 9. That's the rule that works for 3 and 9. There's a different rule for 2. There's a different rule for 6, 10. Okay, that's why all that sheet in your notes has got them all. Okay, let's go up and let's see what we have up here. Okay? Here. Now these questions are taken from different things. They're taken from like different standardized tests, like the air test that you took last year, or the park test that you might have taken a couple years ago. That we just found these different questions, and we like to put these on here just as like, so you can see what, how they word things or whatever. Okay? A lot of times you'll have to determine whether or not you need work. You can probably ask me, but I think you can tell. For instance, Bob covered a floor with carpet. Which unit of measure describes how much carpet he used? Inches, feet, square feet, or cubic inches? What do you guys think? Yeah. It would be square feet. Now, let's quickly go through here a couple things. If I was asking you for something in inches, Jinxie, get it? You with me? Okay, if I was asking for something in inches, wouldn't that be a length or a width?
Yeah.
Or a height? So I'm going to write all those. Length, let's all write them. Length, width, or height. That's the only time we use inches. Okay, I would say, okay, it's 10 inches, that's how long something is. It's 12 inches, it's 15 inches. How tall it is, how wide it is, how long it is. Wouldn't give us an like carpet. Same with this. I'm going to draw another arrow up to here, and I'm going to say that's the same thing. Same with feet. It's just a different unit of measure. Okay? Guys, whenever you see this word right here, you might want to circle it. I know you don't have a highlighter, but circle covered. We know we're talking about what, guys? What do you guys think?
All of it.
Starts with an A. Yeah? Area. Everybody write that. And area is always squared, meaning square inches, square feet, square miles. Area is always going to be whatever the unit is you're measuring with, so feet, inches, meters, whatever it is, squared, because it's 2 dimensions. We'll talk about that later. And perimeter would be just up here. These 2 would be for perimeter. These could be perimeter. If I said, like right now, the perimeter in this room was 100 feet, that would be the distance all the way around it. That's just a distance, okay? Just a length. Okay, does anybody know what volume would be? Oh, I just told you. I didn't mean to ask that. Does anybody know what cubic inches would be? Volume. Okay? We'll talk about that later on this year, volume. Okay? All right. Here we go. There are 2,382 paintings in an art museum. The museum has 124 rooms, which is a reasonable estimate for the number of paintings in each room. What do you guys think? What's a way you could do this?
2,332 times 124.
That's the way that a lot of people do it. So if you actually did this and said, okay, I'm actually going to divide this out, you'd have to show that. You'd have to show that. Oops, sorry. Yeah.
In 6th grade, do they still want us to put our comma with red velvet?
Yeah, you should, but I don't write it in here. Usually, I leave it out, but you can put it. I just don't want it to get confused with the decimal. But you could. Okay. You could do that. You definitely could. But since it says reasonable estimate, could I just? Is there something else I could do? Yeah. Couldn't I just? What's that really close to? That's,
2,000.
well, I don't know if I want to round that extreme. I was thinking like rounding like right there. Wouldn't you guys think 2,400 divided by, and what's that really close to? What if we said 120? Right? Now we just talked about this on the previous page. Can I get rid of one of those zeros? Now how many times would 12 go into 240? Yeah?
20.
It would go in 20 times. Okay, 12 would go into 24 2 times, and then if you add a 0, then that would make it 20. So there you go. Bang. Yep. Okay, hang on. Now you could divide it out and then round. Either way is fine there. Okay? Let's go on to the next one here. A little bit of problem.
Because in twin text, then you have 2 zeros, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Jeez. Yeah, absolutely. My bad. Yes. This goes in 20. Or no. It's 20. You wouldn't add the zeros back on. You know what I mean? It's just like here. Like I'll go back to this one. Like we took those zeros off, but there aren't 70.
But you can't take like 2 zeros off of one thing one or the other.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. So that you wouldn't add them back on in this case because the same amount of 120s in 2400. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Okay. This one here. Now this is Beverly writes each letter of her name on a separate index card is shown. She puts all the cards in a bag. She randomly pulls out one card. What is the probability of the card being E? JT?
1/7.
No. Yep.
2 sevens because there's 2.
Yeah, because I have 2 E's. That means I have 2 opportunities out of how many total? 7. There you go. The answer would be D. So, as you can see, the back, even though it's a whole page, there's only 3 questions. And would you guys say that those 3 might have been the 3 easiest questions on the whole thing?
Yes.
So, just because, like, the next one's stapled, doesn't mean it's, like, really long. It's not as long as you think. So, does anybody know how many points this review sheet would be worth?
13.
This review sheet would be out of 13. You guys would all get a 13 out of 13 on this one, and hopefully you will. Because every box is worth 1 point, and then every question on the back pages is worth 1 point. Huh? So, that's that.